by naming it, I take my power back. And there's part of this feels familiar. There's part of this that some part of me knows already. And I feel it in my body. I've been here before, and when I get to this place, my mind goes back. And all of a sudden I remember the last time I made a major move, and how that felt in my body. The last time I moved to Miami. It did not end well. As a matter of fact, the short run was disastrous. The long run was actually very powerful. It's gotten me to where I am now, and I wouldn't trade a thing. It was a very steep, heavy climb that took a toll on my nervous system and left an imprint. And so now when I'm faced with similar situations where I'm at the pinnacle of making a choice from a place where I have a level of comfort, a level of ease, and a level of predictability, that old pattern comes up. That old pattern comes up and says, whoa, wait here for a minute. Make sure you're doing the right thing. And then I sat with all that for a moment. I sat with all of that. So what's really going on? And as I was aware of where that feeling was, it was in my mind, in my head. My mind was analyzing, reworking, running all the different angles, all the what-if scenarios to see what might ultimately happen. And then I realized when a problem exists in the mind, that problem is based on analysis. Analysis in the mind. However, you cannot think your way out of a problem, an identity that lives in your nervous system. And the feeling of putting the brakes on was in my nervous system. So can you see right there? There's a disconnect between mind and nervous system, trying to solve a problem that's in the nervous system with a mind. And so as I sat with that and really nestled into the deeper feeling, I realized it was not about logistics. It was not about, am I moving to the right place? Am I going to find the proper home? I'm going to find the things that are all analytically sound? Or is there something deeper than that? What I realized that it's about prosperity, not just logistics, but prosperity. And that took a huge weight off of me, realizing that it's about prosperity. And then I started looking at the numbers and the actual metrics and realized it is not a heavy lift at all. It's a very doable lift. It's a lift that I have the capacity, the ability, the knowledge, the expertise, and the track record of delivering. See, over the past couple of years, I have fortified and strengthened my practice to the point where things are predictable. And I count on a certain amount of revenue coming in, and I know what I need to do when I need to do it. And I have all the tools and techniques worked out so that I can go forth and create more abundance. By focusing on all the logistics, I rob myself and keep myself in this loop of round and around and around and around and around mental land. When really the issue is about prosperity and feeling that in my nervous system. And of course, this takes us all back to earlier memories, earlier childhood situations and circumstances where maybe there were similar things that occurred in our life. But now we have the opportunity to revisit them, reconsider, and realign to get deeper into that lesson so that that lesson lessens and we focus on what's most important and what's going to help us get through to the other side. So that's what this video is about. This video is about understanding what's needed, what's required for me to move forward to do what it is that I desire to do with this life. So between now and the end of the year, it's 5 new clients that will create the runway to making that next shift from a place of prosperity with all the footings settled and sunk deep into the foundation of the truth of who I am. And just naming that clarity is empowering. Just naming that decision is empowering. There's a fantastic book by Benjamin Hardy called Be Your Future Self Now. And he talks about this. He talks about planning things in the future now, and then envisioning self in that future and bringing that, collapsing that timeline so that that timeline's now. Phenomenal book, and I'm enjoying reading it. It's something that my mentor's reading. And here's a fast track, folks. The people that are places where you desire to be, learn how to think like they do. When we think in ways that are powerful, like our mentors, we create powerful situations in our life. So with all of this said, the shift actually begins to occur when the nervous system comes into alignment, when the noise is cleared away and the nervous system begins to settle, and the awareness goes from the head down into the solar plexus. And that alignment is anchored into the truth of who we are, the core of who we are. And when we give ourselves permission to feel that feeling and to know that life is a process and decision-making is a process, and sitting with uncomfortable things to wait for the storm to pass is a process, that's where power comes in. That's where learning comes in. That's where the lessons even more, and the truth of who we are becomes clearer. And with clarity, we take action. With clarity, we move forward. With clarity, we have confidence and optimism. And that optimism is this feeling of, yes, I have what is necessary in order to get from here to here. I have what's necessary in order to get from here to here, to achieve my goal, to shrink that gap. That's optimism. Optimism backed by action creates results. And at the end of the day, what do we need to believe is true about ourselves in order to achieve the life and to live the life we desire to live? That's the deeper question. By isolating the financial prosperity issue, addressing those specific things, focusing on them, not being distracted by all the logistics going on over here, but just focusing on the truth of the matter and being honest and being self-aware enough to be honest and comfortable enough in self to be honest, we create magnificent, wonderful, powerful things. And that gives us the traction to move forward. Yes? In order to do that, calming the mind and stilling the mind is an important ingredient. Imagine, sense, and see yourself standing in front of a pool of reflecting water. And you're looking down at the pool, and the wind is blowing across the surface of the water, and it's distorting the surface so that there's ripples. And as you look at the pool, you see reflected back at you a distorted vision of yourself. You cannot quite see yourself clearly. But just imagine, sense, and feel what it would be like if that wind subsided and things became calm. And in that calmness, the reflection of the truth of who you are starts to present itself. And as you gaze on the truth of who you are, and you see the wisdom in your face, the lines in your face, and maybe the grayness in your hair, when you see that, and you start to contemplate that and gaze through that, you see into a deeper version of yourself. This is a metaphor for calming the mind, going into subconscious mind, like walking a labyrinth, the subconscious mind, spending time with self, and then coming back out of that trance state to be your conscious present self here in this world. That's where we find the power and strength. Just when all this is going on up here, we dig into the deeper truth, feel where it can land in the body, and we connect the dots. Self-hypnosis is not a parlor trick. It's a scientifically validated technique that's been proven as effective in National Institutes of Health studies. Now, next month, around about the 18th, I believe it is, of July, it's a Saturday, you're going to be doing a self-hypnosis for identity reclamation workshop, 3 to 5 p.m. We'll put the registration link in the comments. And also, if you just comment me in this video, in the comments, one of my team will send you a registration link and you can come join us. I run them every month. So if you're watching this video in July and it's already passed, comment me and Someone in my staff will send you a link for the August workshop, so on and so forth. Until next time, this is Christian Raphael, medical support clinical hypnotherapist. Claim your future self now. Be your future self now. Be kind, be well, be a blessing.